Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you cannot tell by the thing attached to me, I have had my baby. Now I said on my birth video that I was going to do a 2-week postpartum update. It's been 5 weeks now, so we're just going to go with a month postpartum update, I guess, because that's just how life is. If you have not seen my birth video of this little girl down here, then I will have that linked in the iCards up here or down below in the description. But it was such an easy, it was stressful at times, but pretty stress-free birth. It went very, very quickly, and I will tell you some of those details that kind of, I think, made my postpartum healing and all of that a lot better than it could have been. So if you have just had your baby and you want to know what kind of postpartum other women are having, welcome and congratulations. And if you are still expecting your little miracle, then congratulations also. And let me just tell you right now, ladies, you've got this. You can do it. Things get stressful at times. Being a third-time, very seasoned parent now, I have a lot more patience and a lot more knowledge now, so I'm going to share a little bit of that with y'all too. That has also, I think, made it very, I'm not going to say easy, but easier this time around as well. So like I said, it has been 5 weeks since I've had my baby, and I'm going to back up to the birth itself a little bit and tell you some details about that, because that definitely does play a factor in how your recovery is going to be. So with this birth, like I said, it is my third time having a baby, and not that that made it like easier for her to come out or anything. Every birth is different, but with her birth, I did not have any tearing whatsoever. I only pushed for like maybe 10 minutes and she was out, and nothing serious was wrong. She did have the cord wrapped around her neck, but everything was absolutely fine. So not having any tearing definitely made my recovery time a lot less. With my first baby, I did have a little bit of a tear. I had a 2nd-degree tear, and it was not that bad at all, I don't think. With that baby, I did have to do some sitz bath, which is basically you sit in warm water and let everything just kind of like have a little spa day down there. And you just have to be really careful wiping and stuff like that, where you don't rub anything that has a wound on it. And this time, I definitely did not want to just go at it. Even though there wasn't any tearing, it was still very tender and swollen down there, but nothing like with my first birth or when I tore. So this time around, one of my good friends, they gifted me the Frida Mama kit. And I wish I still had that with me, but I've given it to my sister-in-law that is about to have her baby. And I just gave her like the stuff I didn't use. So no cross-contamination or gross stuff or nothing like that. But it had some ice packs that were like in the pads. And it had this foaming, perineal foaming healing stuff. And it also had a perinatal, is that what it's called? Perineum bottle that you could squirt yourself, and that was angled. I didn't even use that at all. And then it had some like cooling pads. I did not like those at all. They were like, I don't know, they were too cooling. I just didn't like them. And it also came with some disposable underwear. I did wear one pair of the underwear. They were very full coverage. I think that's where they will like hold you in and everything after birth, but I just didn't like them. But my favorite thing in the kit by far was the healing foam. So I did use 2 of the ice pads, and oh my god, when they say ice, they are ice cold. Like it's like someone just like you just sat on freaking Everest or something. Like so cold. So if you get the Frida Mama thing and you're sensitive to temperatures, I don't know, but that thing, oh my god. So you pretty much, you break it and like release whatever makes the stuff inside of it cold, and then you shake it around and put it on your underwear or your disposable underwear, whatever that comes with, and then you put one of those little wipes, which you're supposed to. I did not. And then you put some of that foam, which I did use, and then pull your underwear up and you're good to go. Well, I would like, you know, it would start cooling down after a while or not be as cold, and then I would like shift or something and that gel or whatever and it would like reinvigorate and get cold all over again. Like, I get the idea that it's supposed to numb everything down there, but it was so intensely cold. So you might not like that. You might be really hurting down there and want it to go all numb. I don't know, but I would definitely recommend getting the Freedom Mama care package thing. It definitely has some good things in there. If not, just get the little perineal foam, because that stuff was great. It really kept me just, I don't know, it just felt like it was cleansing and just helping things out in that situation down there. My hospital also supplied me with the Dermaplast spray. That stuff is fantastic. Spray that stuff on before you pull up your underwear and get your foam all on your bits, and it will make just everything down there just feel happy and just really soothed. So I definitely recommend using the Dermaplast as well. If your hospital does not give you any, buy you some when you get home and put it in your postpartum care basket. That's another thing I wish I would have done, is like a postpartum basket like before I gave away my extra stuff. But basically all that was in that package was big huge pads and panty liners, because I do not bleed that heavily after I have my babies. Like the first couple of days I do, and then it goes down to like basically nothing, where I just need a panty liner. So keep a range of pads in there, because you don't know what kind of flow you're gonna have. And the hospital gives you a lot of pads too, so if you don't want to buy, you know, a 20 pack of humongous overnight pads, just get the ones from the hospital. Ask them to give you an extra package, which mine did, and it should be enough to get you through. Unless you are a very heavy bleeder, then you can send your husband or a friend out or something like that to get you some more of those heavier pads. But I don't think you would need an entire package of them. But that is just my experience. With my 3 births, I just haven't bled that heavily afterwards. By about 3.5 weeks, I'm pretty much over the bleeding process, and I just am on to the letting my body shrink the uterus down and start healing the rest of the things. The other things I had in that pack was some flushable wipes, and I just kept those because things get messy sometimes down there, and you just want something that is nice and gentle on you. And do not put your flushable wipes in the toilet. They're not actually flushable. They don't break down like you think they would, so it's not good for your septic system. Throw them in the trash along with all your other feminine hygiene things. And then of course I had that healing foam from Freedom Mama, and I absolutely love that stuff. And then I had my Dermaplast as well. If you do have major tearing or anything like that, you can get the Tux pads and some more of those cold pads. And you can also make them yourself with some aloe vera and some witch hazel, and just soak it into the pad and then put them in your freezer and make your own, and you don't have to buy any or ask the hospital to give you extras. And the ones at the hospital definitely were not as good as the Freedom Mama ones. They were not absorbent, they did not stay cold for very long, and they didn't get as cold either. So I was not a fan of the hospital cold pack pads. And that's pretty much it I had for my postpartum care. Oh, and the disposable underwear from the hospital. I love those things. Some women don't like them and they just skip them all together. I live in them things for like the first week, and then I move on to the fancy Depends. I don't know what they're called, but if I can find them online, I'll put a picture of them up here, what I'm talking about. But these Depends just look prettier than the typical Depends that you can buy, and they even come in black now, which I wish I would have gotten the black, but the orange are just fine, and they have like a little bow printed on them to make you feel all special. Yeah, those are awesome, and I stayed in those for the whole 3 weeks pretty much that I was bleeding. I went through 2 packs of those Depends. So now let's get on to how I was healing and how I was feeling and all of that. So since I didn't have any tearing or anything like that, the healing process down there was really quick. I feel like within 3 days I was able to actually wipe myself, which if you've had a baby before, you know is a very scary thing, and it's something that you proceed with caution about. So I was able to do that just fine. I was able to handle all my business down there and it not hurt anymore. When I walked around, it was still a little bit sore down there, but not that bad at all. And I did have really, really bad cramping from my uterus shrinking down. They say with every baby that cramping afterwards gets worse. You think the contractions are over once you've had your baby. No, they're not. After you have your baby, that uterus that was so big to hold your baby has to shrink back down. So you pretty much have contractions to contract that uterus back down and clamp down on itself where it stops the bleeding. So if you are breastfeeding, every time your baby breastfeeds, it makes those contractions come back, and it hurts so bad, like to the point where I would almost dread her eating because I knew I was going to have to go through those contractions. I did try some of the after ease drops that they sell off of Amazon. Those things did not do anything for me. I didn't really see any relief from it. Maybe I got the wrong brand or something, I don't know. But I didn't see much point in taking the after ease drops. And some people say that they don't like the way that it makes their water taste. I didn't really see a difference in the water either, so I mean, it was fine taste wise, but I just didn't see any relief from taking the after ease drops. Sorry if I'm making y'all sick by rocking. Just trying to keep the little girl happy, because this right here, this is your boss, your dictator, everything for the next year at least, huh? And then you're just a snack machine to them. So since I mentioned breastfeeding, let's touch on that a little bit. I have breastfed all 3 of my babies, and the first time I was very lucky that my milk came in very quickly. It was a good breastfeeding experience. I breastfed him until 9 months, until he got that first tooth, and then I kicked him off of there because it hurt. I wish I would have pushed through and just gotten past that and like taught him how to not bite me, but I didn't do that. But 9 months was still really good. I was proud of myself for that. And then with my second, he had a tongue tie and a lip tie that we did not get fixed until he was 8 weeks old. And like, you're gonna have sore nipples when you breastfeed. It doesn't matter how many times you've had babies or how many times you've breastfed. Those first couple of weeks, your nipples have to get used to being gnawed on again and sucked on in the wrong way, and your baby's learning how to do it right, and you're learning your baby. So there's always going to be some pain involved and some wear and tear on those nipples. Like even third time around with her, I had scabs on my nipples within like the first 3 days, and then once those scabs healed and went away, we were good to go. But with my second one, since he had that tongue tie and lip tie, our breastfeeding experience was not that great. And like I said, we didn't get it fixed until he was 8 weeks old. So by that time, I had already not established my milk very well, I don't think, and I only breastfed him until he was 4 months old. So this time around, I definitely want to breastfeed as long as we possibly can, and it's going very well so far. She has plumped up great. Her birth weight was 6'3". When we went to her doctor's appointment at, I think she was 4 days old, 4 or 5 days old by the time we went to her first doctor's appointment, because she was born on a Thursday and we didn't get out of the hospital until Saturday, and then had to wait till Monday. You get it? But she had dropped down to 5'15", I want to say. And then by the time we went back for her 2-week appointment, she was at 7'3". So she had passed her birth weight and was up a pound above that. And then when we went back for her 1 month checkup, which was only a week ago, she was already 8 pounds. So this little one is definitely chunking up very quickly, and that makes me so happy. That means that mama's milk is doing her very good. And this time around, I am not stressing myself out about pumping every 2 hours or emptying myself after I breastfeed her or anything like that. If y'all want me to, I can do a breastfeeding tips and tricks and all that video, because with my first one, I did all the things to keep my supply up and keep it really strong, and I had an overproduction and it was uncomfortable. So this time I didn't want to go through that. I just want to make enough for her to keep her satiated and enough to make just a little bit extra where I can put a little bit up in the freezer for when we want to go out and have some alone time, me and my husband, or if, you know, my husband is with her while I'm filming or editing or running to the grocery store, he'll have a little bit of milk to thaw out. So right now I'm only putting up about 8 ounces a day, which is not much at all. With my son, the first time around, I put up 28 ounces a day. So way different. But like I said, I had an oversupply. I would get engorged and it hurt. So I just didn't want to deal with that. Don't want to do that. At least at this point with our breastfeeding postpartum journey, I don't want to deal with that. It's definitely not a post-party. There's definitely some things to work through, even with my third baby. So let's talk about that a little bit. So with my first time around, being a new mom, everything stressed me out. I had so much anxiety over every little noise he would make. I Googled constantly what's normal at this age, what my baby made this sound, is that okay? Like everything. It was nerve-wracking because I had never done it before. I had been around tons of babies, but none that they like made me go home with and then just left me with the thing. So I was just very anxious about everything. So this time around, I have a lot more knowledge about like what babies do and how to take care of them and what's normal. So I have been a lot less stressed this time, and I sleep with her in a bassinet right beside my bed that I can literally swivel right up to my bed. Like she is inches away from my face when I sleep. So I can just open my eyes and see her immediately and see that she's breathing. And I do still wake up several times a night and check on her and make sure that she's okay. Even when she's like napping during the day, I'll go over there and just stare at her until I make sure that she's breathing, which is totally normal, but it's nothing like the anxiety that I felt the first time around. And also with knowing babies a little bit more, I don't get all frustrated and just like cry along with them. Like with my first, I would literally I would sob right along with him and just be like, I don't know what you want. I can't help you. I don't know. I'm frustrated too. Let's just cry. And this time around, we just deal with it. We figure out what is making her unhappy at the time, and we just go down the checklist of things that it might be, and we figure it out together. And it all turns out okay. And like when she gets all mad and fussy and she won't latch on and she's just doing that used to, I would get so frustrated and be like, why don't you want it? It's right there. Just latch on, dang it. It's right freaking there. But now I'm just like, oh, look at you. You just getting all frustrated with it. You just fighting with that nipple larger. And that might be weird, but it's a much better approach, I think, than the way I was the first time around. Being so keyed up about every little thing and just being able to appreciate that she's learning and doesn't know what's going on. She's kind of silly about it. And it just makes it a lot easier on me and my psyche. This time around, I feel so much better mentally. So that is a great plus. With my second one, I went through pretty bad postpartum. I was not at a good place in my headspace. My marriage was a little bit not rocky, strained. That's not something I want to go into detail about, but we were working through some things as fairly newlyweds, and new parents again, working in a second baby. And there's just a lot of stressors in my life then. And I had gained a considerable amount of weight with that pregnancy. And I did not want to continue to gain weight. And so that's another thing that affected my breastfeeding, is I was not eating the way I should. And I was not losing the weight either way. But I was just unhealthy in my body and in my mind with my second baby, and my postpartum was very bad. So if you go back and watch my video, probably about 2-3 months before I found out I was pregnant with her, my I think it was titled like, I don't want any more babies, or do I want more babies? Something to that effect. If I can find it, I will tag it up here and in the description down there too. But in that video, I said, like, I don't want any more babies because I want to work on this up here and make sure this is healthy before I bring any other human being into my life that I have to care for. Because having a new baby, even if you are in a good headspace, it's stressful. And, you know, sometimes at night, she's waking up multiple times, and by the time I get her down, my 2-year-old is waking up. And there has been nights that I get very, very little sleep, and the next day I am, you know, not frazzled, like not to the point where I'm yelling at my children and I feel bad at myself by the end of the day, but I definitely am run down and just need a little bit of a break. And my husband, we are at a very good place now in our marriage, and he is very much there for me, and he is a great support system, and he will take the kids, he'll even take her and just let me have some rest and just let me decompress. So that is great. But during the day when he's at work, I have to deal with it, and being at a healthier mental state makes it easier for me to deal with those hard days. And used to, I would literally just sit in a corner and cry because I couldn't handle everything that was going on in that day, all the emotions, my children's emotions and my own. It was too much, and I would break. And this time, I feel like I am definitely in a better place where I don't have those breaking points. And I have not cried out of frustration, not once, which is a great win. And you know what? If you are having a hard time with your postpartum, if you're struggling like that, even if you are a seasoned mom, don't feel bad on yourself. Don't beat yourself up about it, because you know what? We are allowed to have down points, and we are allowed to show that we're struggling, and hopefully you have a good support system there to help you. And I am just lucky this time around that I am in a good headspace. But if you're not, if you are mentally at the end of your rope at the end of the day, or just even a couple hours into your day, then just give yourself some grace and just take a couple of breaths and know that, you know what, all of you are going to make it through this day. It might not be the best day in the world. It might not be one that you're going to write down in your journal that, you know, it's just all these cute things happened with your new baby. It might be one where you just have to sit in the corner and cry. And you know what? That's okay. Because sometimes those cleansing cries were the only thing that got me through those days. So either way that you're going through this, just know that it's all right. But also, if those feelings get to the point where you are thinking about hurting yourself or hurting your children, definitely talk to someone about those emotions, because those things do happen. And even if you have those thoughts, does not mean that you're going to go through with them. I went to counseling for postpartum a couple of years back, and my counselor told me something that has made me feel so much better about where my mental state was at that time. But she said that one of her patients said that her baby was just screaming and screaming and screaming one day, and she had the thought, if I just put this baby in this pot of boiling water, the baby will stop crying. But I know I can't do that because it'll kill the baby. So just because you have those crazy thoughts, does not mean you're going to go through with them. It just means that you are so stressed and you're just thinking about those things. It's like, you know, when your husband's getting on your last freaking nerve, you're like, dang it, if I just hit him over the head with this frying pan, I won't have to cook him dinner anymore, you know? But it doesn't mean you're actually going to do that. But if you are having those feelings and you think that you just need some help in that area, definitely talk to someone. And it doesn't have to be a counselor. Talk to a close friend or family member or something like that. Just sometimes just getting it out there and hearing other women's personal experiences of how they're struggling makes you feel less crazy. And it definitely did help me, so hopefully that will help you too. So one of the ways that I am not being hard on myself and not beating myself up about this time is I'm not trying to lose weight right away or, you know, be this beautiful picture of, if you can see those pictures back there, I was like 4 weeks pregnant in this one over here for my engagement pictures, and I was 13 weeks pregnant when I got married. So I am not looking to be that woman right now. I'm not looking to be that woman ever again, because you know what? That was 6 years ago and I'm not her anymore. I have changed so much. My body has changed, and I'm not going to be mad at my body or mad at myself that my body has changed. And I'm going to love the body I have now and be very appreciative of it, that it has given me 3 beautiful babies, and know that, you know what, you can't go through all of that and not have some change. I mean, you can't, I don't know. I mean, you can't stuff a plastic bag full of a whole bunch of stuff and then take all that stuff out and expect that plastic bag to fold up nicely again, you know? It's like taking a comforter out of one of those really pretty bags that they put in the store. You're never going to get that comforter back in that bag, because you know what? That comforter has changed now. It's fluffed up. It's gone through some things. It's not going to fit back into its original packaging. So don't try to be your original packaging that you were before you had children, if that makes any sense at all. So speaking of not being mean to my body and all of that, I am feeding myself enough calories. I'm trying my best to stay away from the bad things. I did fall a little bit back into my binge eating, which I want to go into a little bit more into in a different video. This is not the video for all of that. But I am not jumping right back into my weightlifting and my running and all of that I was doing before I found out I was even pregnant. And if you've watched the video that I was talking about before, the I don't know if I want babies or are there going to be more babies or whatever it was called, I was doing really well with my fitness. Like, I had lost over 60 pounds. I was running a mile almost every day. I was lifting weights, I was doing all kinds of things, and during my pregnancy I wasn't able to do any of that because I was put on strict bed rest. But you know what? I'm not pressuring myself to get back into any of that stuff anytime soon. I do go to my 6-week checkup next week, and hopefully she clears me for everything. But even if she doesn't, or even if she does, I'm not going to jump right back into that and be like, okay, I'm going to be a super athlete, because you know what? I don't think that would be good for my mental health, and I also don't think it would be very good for this little thing right here, because I want to be able to be here for her and put myself aside just a little bit and make sure that she gets a good start in life. And that means giving her good breast milk too. So if I starve myself and try to get back down to my pre-pregnancy weight, which is only 14 pounds away, but still, if I try to do that right away, it's going to make her suffer too. So I'm not going to do that, and don't do that to yourself either. And remember, it took 9 months for your body to change into what it was to make this thing right here. So give it at least 9 months to get down to what it was before you start beating yourself up. So I know that this video got a little bit more in depth into just my regular postpartum recovery, but you know what? That's just the thoughts that I'm having right now. That's my real life feelings. And like, I put off making this video because I was like, oh, I've got to like, you know, have my hair done and be in a cute outfit and make it look like I have my life together. But that's not realistic, and that's not me. And when I started this YouTube channel, I wanted to be one of those women that, you know, had my hair curled and my makeup on in every video, had it all together. But you know what? That's not me. And if you're coming here to this video thinking, dang, she looking like crap, this is me in every single one of my videos. Go back and watch them. I don't get all dolled up because that's not realistic in my world, at least. I don't have the time or the want to get all dolled up every single day, to have my hair done every single day. That's just not my personality. So if you don't like the way I look on this video, that's your problem. Sorry, not mine. But I kept on telling myself, like, I want to portray that image for my postpartum and show that, you know, this time I'm strong and I've got it together. Not saying I don't have it all together and I'm not strong, I still am. But you know what? I don't have to have curls in my hair and full makeup on to show that to y'all. So I'm happy with myself right now. And you know what? She is too. She looks pretty happy. So if you're ever feeling bad on yourself because you do not look like all those Instagram mamas that look all perfect and have it all together and have matching clothes with their babies and all the extra things, just know most of the time we're sitting around looking just like this right here, not like those women. And if you are one of those women, no shade. Kudos to you for putting your hair on and your makeup on all those days. Because you know what? It's expensive and I'm not going to spend money on mascara every day. But if that is what makes you happy, then do it. Find those things in life that make you happy. The things that make you still feel like you're a human after you have given birth to a human. And like I said, give yourself some grace and just give yourself some time to heal. And I hope that if you have come to this video for some what it's like after you've had your baby and some postpartum stuff. Sorry I went off on a tangent, but hopefully you found some kind of value in it. Right now, my little girl, she's tired. I think she wants to be laid down and for me to shut up where she can get some actual rest. So I'm going to close out this video, but I hope that y'all enjoyed it in some way, and I will see y'all on the next one. Bye.